First innings was in the working as an employee, 17 years as an employee. Then I became an employer for 25 years. Remaining is I am employing myself. I remember when I started training way back in 80s, we used to use the OHP transparency. We used to prepare handwritten colored transparency, and then we used to put it on the OHP.
Yeah.
Then this thing came, laptop came, PowerPoint came. We started doing that. 90-hour working, that is the L&D chairman.
Chairman of L&T, came under fire on social media after he suggested that employees should work 90 hours a week.
Do you work to live or do you live to work? The question has split the world's largest democracy right down the middle.
Murthy saying that you should have 70 hours. Time and again, you perform and exceed their expectations. An Israeli gentleman developed a speech synthesizer and he could get all what he had to write. Work-life balance is not work-life balance per se, not compartmentalizing this time for this time for work, this time. It's not that.
Activity field. I work and I meet deadlines, all that. But there is always something that I'm not productive. I'm not perfect enough.
And this year I don't mind learning. But by the time I learn this, something else will come.
We always stuck in toxic environment, so to say. And first of all, we don't recognize it in the start, but after then we get habitual to it and we have to stuck in it. So how to identify those toxic environments in the start only?
See, that can be done.
Hello everyone, we are here again with another podcast. इस बार हम corporate life की बात करेंगे. We'll talk about professionalism. You know, as college students, we always lack the knowledge of corporate world that we will go into. We need some etiquettes that we will need in our future to be a successful employee, to be a successful manager, or these things. And in student life, in college life, we always miss out on these things. We feel like, okay, we have to enjoy our lives, we don't have to focus on these things, but somewhere we need these things. So today we are here with Mr. Jagdish Iyer Sir, and he has been a bank employee for like 20 years now. And after that, he started coaching people on professionalism, on professional etiquettes, and all these things. So I'll not give any more. I'll not take any more moment. He will give his own intro in his own words. Sir, please.
Thank you. Nice to be on a podcast. And to tell you the truth, this is my first podcast.
Okay.
I've done a lot of training online,
Yeah.
but that doesn't give a different same feel.
Yeah.
Okay, but this is okay. This is your life, so you need to be extra. So I think the topic we're going to speak on is very relevant today because a lot of things has been written about in the last month or so. You had two corporate bigwigs talking about having 90-hour working, that is the L&T chairman, and then you had Mr. Infosys chairman, CEO, former CEO, Murthy, saying that you should have 70 hours. And then there was views and counter views and how you need to do it. And then you had Anand Mandra saying that it's not the quantity of hours you put in, but the quality of work output. And the same thing was echoed by the other person. Anand Mahindra was one, the other person was Shiv Nada. There was a lot of threads which I was going through, and personally, I feel it's all about not work, it's more to manage your energies. There's a gentleman called Tony Schwartz, and he's got a website of his own called Energy Project. If you have time, please go into that Energy Project. And he also has a tool to find out what you do. He says all this managing time is not managing time per se by having a to-do list or finding out where you are, how you should do it. It's not that. Okay. He says you have to manage your energies, not the time. You cannot manage time. Time comes and goes. What you can manage is your energy. and that is within us. So he says there are 4 types of energies you have. Each one has. So one energy is our mental energy. How much mind you are able to apply. The second is your physical energy. You may have a great mind, but you may not have the physical wherewithal to meet it. One glaring example is Stephen Hawking. He had a motor neuron disease. He has a brilliant mind, but when he had a motor neuron disease, it couldn't be used. But luckily, somebody developed, I think an Israeli gentleman developed a speech synthesizer, and he could get all what he had to write.
Yeah.
Okay. But that was a 1 in a million, because he's such a brilliant mind that they didn't mind investing that kind of money into that. So there was a physical disability was taken over by technology.
Yeah.
So there was a physical energy. Third is your spiritual energy. Okay. And fourth is the emotional energy.
Yeah.
So all these 4 energies have to be balanced out. And if you're able to balance it out, you can. And he's got a test for this, which I generally do that in a workshop, where you do that test and you find out which energy is less and which energy is more.
Right.
Okay. You can do that. If possible, I'll try to share it with you. It's on the website has it.
Okay.
He will conduct the.
Yeah.
So he's a gentleman who he's talking like, the 4 cylinders in a car engine.
Yeah.
If there's a 4-stroke engine, all the 4 have to be moving. If one of them stop, you had it. So it has to move in tandem, one after the other. There are highs, lows. As the piston goes up and down, there are highs and lows. So he has to he compares that, and each energy is compared to one energy. So if you're losing on one, that piston won't work.
Yeah.
So it's like having a great mind in a great body with great emotions, positive emotions. We talk.
Yeah.
So, and how you beat with spiritual energy. Spiritual energy talks about meditation and things like that. So these are the 4 energies which he talks about, and not managing time. So this is one area which he loves to talk about, and there's a lot of research done on it. He puts a website, energy project, so anybody can do it, and then he assesses it and adds it to his database to find out the truth. So basically what's happening is there's a lot of things which have to be done in managing work. See, it's not managing. There's another guy, Bill Bryson.
Bill Bryant. Yeah.
Bill Bryson.
The one who is, extending life.
Yeah.
Escaping the death.
Yeah. So he was also the former CEO of Coca-Cola. Okay, Bill Bryson. So here he says that it's like having 5 balls, juggling with 5 balls. Okay. And one is a rubber ball, which is work. The moment you do away with it, it bounces back. So work is always there.
Yeah.
Then there is relationship, which he calls as glass. If it breaks, it breaks. The others are made of glass. Health breaks, your thing is broken. That's also made of glass. And then you have the other wonderful thing of your meditation and work, all that, so work-life balance is keeping all the balls up in the air and managing. But it's really impossible. In fact, you need to be very good. Right now, you have to have the mind. You have to first know your SWOT, self-awareness, which was a thing which you would also like to know. Self-awareness is a very important part. EQ, which is emotional quotient, is another part. And the third is being assertive. Only if you have EQ can you be assertive. And self-awareness, they are all linked.
Yeah.
So the whole thing is entwined. The work-life balance is not work-life balance per se, not compartmentalizing this time for this time for work, this time for... It's not that. You have a good time and enjoy. and you know when to say no. Like I stopped. I was very active, and by say 2018, I just said, let's call it quits. It's hard enough. What do you want to do? So I have to have an objective. So what do you want to do? I want to do my own thing. So when you get that feeling, then you say, okay, no, let's not do any training. I could have continued. I was at the peak. I just pulled out. All my associates were saying, why are you pulling out? I said, no, I want to pull out and I want to do my own thing. And doing my own thing means anything. So I first learned to swim.
Okay.
And there's a pool. I said, wow, there's a pool. I don't know to swim. So I got a coach I learned it in 10 days.
Wow.
Then I got tremendous pleasure out of it. Then I learned tennis. Got a tennis court. So I learned to play tennis and got into a group of 8. Then I learned a lot of things, new things, which I got to learn at the age of 64.
Wow.
Okay. Then I go and travel. So right now I'll be traveling to Madurai and Kodaikanal and all that. Before that, last year I went to Kerala, entire Kerala. I went to Northeast. So when I went to Northeast, I was going from Gangtok to Darjeeling.
Okay.
So on the way, it was off season. And on the way, I saw a lot of advertisements, shops which were saying that we want to do white water rafting, but it was not season. So I stopped the vehicle. We are going back. I stopped the vehicle. I said, let's see. So he said, we are not having that. This thing, you need to have 5 people to get into that white water rafting. I said, how much does the entire boat cost? He said, 5,000 rupees. If it is per head, then it's 1,000 rupees per head. I said, I'm taking the entire boat. It's just me and my wife. My wife refused because whitewater rafting, I can't get into that rocks. And I said, I just put her jacket onto her and we all got into it. And we had the time of our life, enjoying that. I said, this is a one-time zindagi na mile dobara. So it's a one-time effect.
Yeah.
Same thing, I went to another place, I crossed it and then I said, they were doing this paragliding.
Yeah.
So I said, I want to do this. He said, no, how old are you? I said, I'm 64. He said, sorry, you have health problems. I said, I had 20 years back, not now. And he said, but I want to do it. He said, how much do you weigh? I said, around 69. He said, okay, come. I'll take you. But it's not for long. I'll take you only for about 10-15 minutes. I said, fine, chalega, but I want to do it.
Yeah.
So they took us over on top of 4,000 feet and then jump off the cliff.
We
and
did
then
that.
it was a thrilling experience.
It is.
Okay. So just an experience that you want. So live life king size, that kind of thing. So I got to enjoy all that. So the same thing happened in my travels. I meet people. I get to see that. So this is what I want to do now. This is my 3rd innings, you can say.
Okay.
The first inning was in the working as an employee.
Yeah.
Then I became an employer for 25 years, 17 years as an employee, 25 years as an employer.
Yeah.
And remaining is I'm employing myself. So I enjoy it and I take part in all the activities. We have a lot of social groups within here also. So get to interact people and then I read. And at this age, I'm learning Sanskrit.
Wow.
Okay. So online exams I give and all that. So I have finished about 3 papers. 4th and 5th. It's a little bit difficult, but I'm learning it. Just with I want to give it up, but then I said, no, let's do it. Okay. So we have taken it up. We must take it to the logical end. So that kind of focus has to be there. So it's not about doing what you want. It's what you prefer doing. What's your passion?
Yeah.
Where do you get your kick?
Yeah.
Okay. So you should get your kick out of all these things. Right. So that's the whole process. And what happens psychologically, if you are not handling all these 4 energies, you get into stress. Now, stress itself is not bad. There is something called eustress, which is a good stress. It's a bell-shaped curve. So when you're there, you cannot avoid stress. There will always be stress. So you go up to the top, that's eustress. Then at the top, you get stressed. And then there is distress below. So that's a downward thing. So you have to manage it up to the your stress is fine. It makes you work.
Yeah.
You know, like you cannot walk on a smooth floor or even on ice. You will tend to slip. There has to be friction. So that stress is that friction. You need that friction to get you going. And what happens in stress is it has psychological factors. Psychological factors is, first of all, you should understand the physical factors, how stress affects you. Stress affects you first when you get into a unknown situation, fear of the unknown. You get into the fight or flight.
Yeah.
So you either tend to fight or you tend to flight, run away.
Yeah.
When you see a tiger, first thing is either to run away or fight the tiger. You generally do the next, run away.
Yeah.
So what happens? Your body autonomous nervous system is there that triggers of certain release of certain hormones, and certain hormones they will go off the moment the stress is gone off. But if the stress continues, then those hormones are toxic. They are not good for the body. So they lead to other issues like blood pressure, cholesterol, all those other issues will come in. So the point is, how do I get over all this? So you have to manage the stress very well. You should know when you're getting stressed, how you're getting stressed. So that's the psychological aspect, physical aspects of what happens to your body because of the hormones. And like when you see a tiger, the cortisones and other things come into your bloodstream and they make your muscles taut. So you're either ready to fight or ready to run. So you have to choose. The choice is depending on what size the tiger is. If it's a cub, you may not do it.
Yeah.
You may lift it and play with it.
Yeah.
So that's the whole issue. And what you need to do is you need to work as softly as possible. And there are a lot of factors which help you get over all this. One is the physiological, I told you, and then there are other factors, which you have social stressors also. Stress can come from social, like a person is not treating you well,
Yeah.
your boss is not treating you well. It's a social stress.
FOMO.
Yeah, then
Fear
you
of
have,
missing out.
environmental stress, noise pollution, air pollution,
Traffic.
traffic, then honking. All these are environmental stresses. In fact, in Delhi, the pollution, air pollution, AQI is being very high. So that creates a stress. So you have also emotional stress, physical, internal stress can come from inside. You have your heartbreak, or you've broken up with somebody, or you're having a mess in your family life. There's a
Friend
sick
leaving.
patient. So you have a lot of, somebody ditching you, somebody stabbing you in the back. So all this will work on you. So it creates a lot of either guilt or fear of the unknown. All these things, like when you're going for an exam, if you're not prepared for the exam, then it creates a great amount of stress. But if you're prepared, then you say, okay, let's go. We'll see what happens. At the most, what will happen? We'll fail. We can take it, retest. That's what's happening in Sanskrit now. I'm going for the exam. I'm not prepared for it, I know. But I say, let me just see where I am. And I have nothing to lose. If you can go with that mindset, I have nothing to lose. I can always rewrite again.
Yeah.
It's okay. So the whole process is, how do you get into that sphere of thinking? So there's another tool which can help you. One is the tool which I was telling you, where you find your energies, as per Tony Schwartz.
Yeah.
Then there's another tool which you must have heard of, is the Rational Emotive Behavior Therapy, REBT, which is a very important tool as far as stress management is concerned, work-life balance is concerned.
Okay.
Why? Because you need to prioritize. So to prioritize, what are your beliefs? Do you have the right set of beliefs? Do they give you the right set of thoughts? Do they give you to the right set of feelings and right set of actions? That will all give you the right behavior. So that's the process. Okay. But if you have a wrong set of beliefs, if you have irrational beliefs, which doesn't get you anywhere, like no, it's too difficult. If you have that belief, yeah, come. So if you have irrational beliefs which don't really get into, it doesn't give you results. I'll give you an example. Irrational, I believe. Like, for example, you have Tirtha is a very good friend of yours.
Yeah.
Okay, and I come and tell you that I met Tirtha yesterday at a very, very rich person's wedding where all camera and media were there.
Yeah.
And they were photographing everybody and videographing everybody. And in the end, they gave you a pen drive as a takeaway gift, return gift. Memories of the wedding.
Yeah.
Everyone was given that. So I also was given, she was also given.
Yeah.
Then I come and tell you, how do you call Tirtha your best friend? She talked utter nonsense about you. I just can't believe that she can talk such things about you. So what is your first action?
I would say, I would object it. First of all, this is not true.
This is not true.
Yeah.
You disbelieve.
Yeah,
You will not believe because she is a very good friend of mine. I said, I know you're going to say that because she's a very good friend of mine. But here is the tehelka.com.
Yeah.
I'll give you the proof
Yeah,
of
yeah.
the pudding.
Yeah.
And see, here she's talking such nonsense about you.
Yeah.
And then blood boils,
Then
anger,
yeah.
guilt. Okay. And immediately you'll pick up, since she's a friend, you'll pick up a call and tell her,
Yeah.
how dare you talk such things about me? I didn't expect this from you and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to ask you a very difficult question now. Why did you respond in this manner with her in an angry, guilt-ridden action? Why?
Because that's the first human response that we give.
That is a thought.
Yeah.
The belief which leads to that thought. You examine that.
Okay.
What are the belief?
The broken of trust
Break of trust, yes.
and something like which I had not foreseen,
Fine.
and
You have a very, very strong belief that every person on this earth at every point of time should always talk good about me. In Hindi, हर इंसान इस जग में मेरे बारे में हमेशा अच्छा ही बोलना चाहिए. प्रत्येक वेळी प्रत्येक माणूस माझ्याबद्दल नेहमी चांगलाच बोलावे. Yeah. So this is या जगात, you add that. And in Tamil also it can be said. So on.
Yeah.
There's a very strong belief in all of us. And therefore, we all get angry. Not only you, I also get angry when somebody speaks ill of me. Because I have a strong belief that nobody should speak ill of me. Okay. Now, do you speak ill of everybody?
not everybody, but yeah.
I do. At times, I can speak ill of my mother too. When I'm angry with her.
Happens.
Yeah. So, you do say that I have the right to get angry, but she has no right to be angry.
Yeah.
So, this is one-sided.
One side.
So, this belief is an irrational belief. Throw it in the dustbin and replace it with a new belief. And what should be the new belief?
That I cannot be perfect and someone
I am not perfect. It's okay. She may have been prompted to say it. I may have triggered of something and she may have prompted it. And you get into when I tell you this, that she spoke ill of you, you'll say, Kaun, Tirtha, no problem. I also speak often about her.
Yeah.
That's the relationship you get into when you do that. So how This is only one belief. Now there is a list of 10 such beliefs. There's 100 questionnaire.
Yeah.
It's a belief inventory, which will identify which are your irrational beliefs. Like, I must be successful in whatever I do. It's not necessary. You can fail. You can fail.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, for example, I got through the IIT entrance exam.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd done a very great thing because I had not gone for any coaching classes, etc., etc. I just wrote the exam and got in.
Wow.
So I thought, color up, great guy. But when I go there and I see that the process, and then I'm very good at practical part, but the theoretical part I cannot
Yeah.
get in. So I said, this is not my cup of tea and this is not my interest. So I quit IIT after 2 years.
Wow.
I had the guts. I quit and I came back home. My dad was very kind. He said, what do you want to do? I said, I'll do not science, because science is I do up to MSc level in 2 years, first 2 years of science. So I don't want to get into all that. I'll do arts. And I do BA economics with mathematics and strategy. What will you do with this? I said, but Dad said nothing. I said, I'll do it. But then when I got into that, it gave me half a day for college and half a day for my extracurricular. So I was into painting, I was into art, and, quiz, debates. I developed all those other skills.
Yeah.
And I became very good at it. I got an outstanding student at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Now the process was, I started doing things which I liked.
Right.
And I gave it. The people said, you'll not get a job with a BA. Who will give you a job? I got into IBM. But unfortunately, IBM closed in 77. I joined in 77. It closed in 1 month's time. That government ruling was that all foreign companies should leave.
Yeah.
Coca-Cola, IBM, in Unilever. Then they came back as Hindustan Lever.
Okay.
So all these companies were. So I was got a job, but I had to lose it immediately.
Yeah.
So then I started writing exams, and then I got into a bank. Now I didn't want to do banking, but I got into a bank. But I needed a job, so I said, let's do it for the time being.
Yeah.
I did the job pretty well because I refer to a thing: aim to get what you like. If you don't get what you like what you get, until you get what you like.
Wow. No, that's deep.
So it's a stopgap arrangement.
Yeah.
I took up the banking, and I went there I spent 17 years, and unfortunately I wouldn't have spent 17 years, but I took a housing loan.
Okay.
So I had to repay it in 15 years. So once that was repaid, I decided to quit.
Yeah.
And I quit. And what will you do? I said, I read a lot. You've seen, as you enter, there's a big library out there.
Yeah.
So I said, I got this, and I got 2 hands. I started training company, and I started. My wife said, you don't have an office, you don't have a secretary, you don't have this, you don't have a peon. What will you do? I didn't have a computer, I didn't have a phone. But I said, no, we got to start. So we started from home. Home was the address. We had a startup in those days. I'm talking about 1990s, 1990.
Okay.
That time I went into a startup mode when
Wow.
startup was not there.
Yeah, the word was also
Not
not
there.
prevalent.
And I got into it. I started from home. I used a PP. My neighbor had a phone, because in those days we had those lines which you had to book.
Okay.
So Bombay telephone, you had to book, and you're in a waiting list. So
Okay.
my number was 1 more year to get the phone. That kind of thing.
Okay.
I had booked, but it takes 1 more year to get the line.
Yeah.
We didn't have the cell phone.
Yeah. The landline one.
Landline.
Yeah.
So I got in and I used my neighbor's phone. I told my clients that you will have to phone between this hour and this hour, not at any other time, because this is a PP, my neighbor's call. I'll get a phone. My phone is booked, but I've not yet got it. We arranged, and then one fine day, after 6 months, that cell phones started coming, and I bought those big Hathoda types.
Yeah.
Siemens ka bada wala.
Yeah.
It was a really heavy one.
Yeah.
So I went and paid 10,000 for that.
Wow.
And I said, oh, it's a pretty good,
At
big
that
amount.
time,
And no earnings. I said, and my wife said, why spending 10,000 rupees on that? So I said, wait. Then immediately one person called that, are you Mr. Iyer? I got this. I understand you do all this training and all that. Can you come and meet us? So I come. Then he asked me, what will you quote? So I quoted in the price of the phone.
Right.
So you get into it. Then once you start being passionate about that, then all things come into place.
Right.
They play in, but you have to be focused on what you want to do. So that's what we did. Same thing with work-life balance. Aim to get what you like. You didn't get what you like. Then like what you get, do it well, and then get what you liked,
in the first
you
place.
go for that direction. And right now I'm doing that. I'm enjoying myself. So the work-life balance, you never had the pressure. Of course, there were meeting deadlines and all that. That is their part of the thing. But once the deadline is over, if you've planned out everything, it's schematic, and you put everything in place, you don't have issues. Earlier, I used to do everything on my own. Then I started delegating. Earlier, I used to do all the programs myself. Then I found people, the best, who were good in each field.
Yeah.
I got them into my team. I paid them the most, highest than the market,
Okay.
so that they are able to get it. So this is the factors which help you get over all this, to bring about a balance. Like now my son, he was working for Asian Paints as a GM for 17 years. He used to be traveling a lot. He's into sales.
Wow.
Then he's traveled around the world and things like that. He's just 43. But then his passport also, he has about 3 passports with visa stamping.
Yeah.
Almost every continent except 2, South America and China. He has not seen. Otherwise, all continents he has seen. He's got tremendous work-life balance. Now he's got a job with the Tata. His office is actually headquartered in Bangalore. But he said, I am going to work only from Mumbai. Take it or leave it. These are my terms. And this is my salary. This is what I want. So they agreed. So his office is somewhere in Kalagoda.
Okay.
He said, I'm not going to spend 3 hours traveling to and fro. It's not worth it. I'll spend that time in work here. So he works from home. He goes 3 days in a week to the office in case it is required. Worst come worst. Otherwise, he doesn't move. And if at all he has to meet people, he calls them to these WeWork sites and all that. Because at Marol itself. So very nearby, he can walk down and he can finish the business, or go to a hotel or somewhere, meet at a restaurant. Somebody is coming from he has to meet his boss. He's coming from Bangalore. So they meet at the Taj Hotel at Santa Cruz Airport. They meet there, or one of the hotels which are here. They meet up, have a 3-4 hour meeting, and they disband and go.
Yeah.
And then he travels out 3-4 days in a month. So what happens in the process? He's perfectly working here. At the same time, he gets time. He's the secretary of this building. He's the secretary of almost all the events which are taking place here. Almost every month we have some event or the other.
Yeah.
And it involves a lot of... So he has time for that. It's time for purchases, working, and that's all. He has also time for taking care of my leave plans. So all my holiday scheduling, everything he does.
Okay.
He said, you just have to go there. Everything is fixed. You have to go.
Yeah.
So that's how it is. So the work-life plan, if you plan it out, if you have your focus right, what you want in life, purpose, you can do it.
Right.
Anything else you like more on that?
Yeah. I would love to know about procrastination.
Procrastination.
Yeah. Because in this age we do.
Procrastination is a thief of time. जो करना है, there's a दोहा, जो करना है अब कर,
हाँ, कल करे से आज कर, आज करे से अब,
हाँ,
कबीर साहब.
Kabir ka doha. It's a very true thing. Like what you decide, and you have got to be very decisive. Procrastination happens when you're not decisive, when you're not knowing what to do. So when people are indecisive, kabhi haan, kabhi na, and then they're not able to. I know a guy who, in 1980, I got my 86. I bought my first computer. Okay. I didn't know what a computer was. So I went to one of the classes to find out how to operate the computer and all that. So when I went to the class, they said you'll pay 8,000 rupees for 8 weeks of coaching. I said, then I went, I said, 8 weeks of coaching, you will not learn anything. And you will not learn if you don't have a computer with you. So at that time, my bank I was working at that time in the bank. So they had announced consumer loans for buying a TV, fridge and all that. So I went and bought a computer. And I bought those 20 MB hard disks. The state of the art at that time. 20 MB. A desktop. And it was an assembled one. And I got it. Then they said, what will you do? They asked me in the bank also, what will you do? I said, I'm going to learn. So I went to the training shop. They said, you have to pay 8,000 rupees. So I said, why pay 8,000 rupees? I might as well pay 20,000 rupees on a computer. And 3 of us will learn. Me, my wife and my son. He was in the 10th at that time. So all 3 of us just played around with it and learned. And I had a software engineer who got us to, who helped us out, train. In the process, he also taught me some of the hardware part. If this happens, do this. If this happens, how to take care of those snags. So that's how we learned. And then today we have n number of laptops. Laptop that doesn't.
Yeah.
So that was the whole process. Yeah, I still have no formal training of computers, but I know how to operate it. Right from your what you call Excel to your PowerPoint to Word. It's quite easy.
Yeah.
Quite learning all that. So it went off well that way. So the process is learn. You're passionate about it, get it done. So take a decision. So I took a decision in the 10th. And there was a neighbor of mine who also wanted it. But he went around going, asking the shop, this thing, that thing. And then he said, if I buy this model, then what happens? That gets upgraded. Then we have to buy a new model. I did that. I kept upgrading. I added those memory cards and all that. And then finally, the whole thing is done. Process is being decisive. And for 8 years, he never bought a computer. So being decisive, procrastination is you postpone the purchase, Hey, procrastination is good when you're having an expense which is too large.
Yeah.
And which you can't afford.
Right.
Then you can procrastinate. Okay, I will not buy it now, but I will postpone that purchase later. But till then, how do I accumulate that funds? So I need to take a little bit away from my salary and do it. So can I do that? So this is a lot of self-control, willpower, all this will come in. These are all part of the initial self-awareness part. It's all part of the EQ also. You can get that into. So procrastination can be solved provided you are decisive, take decision, and generally I go by the gut. So people who use the gut to decide, they're one up because they get a lead time. They get a lead time. Physical energy can be renewed. All these energies can be renewed by ourselves. Physical energy can be renewed by having 8 hours of sleep, 7 to 8 hours of sleep, good sleep, not disturbed sleep. Exercise. Best form of exercise. You have gym sports, etc., players, whatever. But best form is walk. Walk 7 kilometers at 7 kilometers per hour. Brisk walk, not tehelna. You stroll, that is strolling, ambling.
Yeah.
That's not walk.
Yeah.
Brisk walk. Okay. And diet. Have a balanced diet. Just as work-life balance is a balanced diet. Don't keep hogging. You can hog, no issues. But then you burn it out. If you hog today, like my son follows that. He has no this thing. But if he has a very heavy meal, he's a foodie. So he has a good meal. Next 2 days he will not eat. Breakfast he'll skip. Lunch he'll skip.
Okay.
So it comes to then he'll have only evening. And certain things he will not touch after sunset, sunrise, he will not sweets and all he will not take in the evening. Certain things, what happens in this process, you're allowing your body to give that physical strength. Right. Okay. So that's one thing. And have small meals every 3 hours rather than having one large meal. This is what Ayurvedic also prescribes. Have meals every 2 hours. Even diabetics, patients are told, suggested, have small meals every 2 hours. Snack time. So that's your physical energy. The mental energy can be done by meditation, by yoga, keeping your mind fit, alert, mindfulness.
Yeah.
This new thing. It's nothing but all this meditation and all that. There are various forms of meditation, but the best form of meditation is the no thought state. There's the power of now. Who's written that book? He talks about going into a state where you have no thought coming to your mind.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's a beautiful book. So mental energy. Then the emotional energy. REBT, which takes care of all your feelings, emotions, your thoughts. Everything is taken care of by REBT. So that's a structure. So you have this kind of energy. You have balance out the whole thing.
So, sir, I have been struggling with productivity guilt for like years now. And I work and I meet deadlines, all that. But there is always something that I'm not productive enough. I'm not perfect enough. I have to be more productive. So there is always a productivity guilt. So, how can you normalize it, first of all? Because productive will be there. Sometimes it will be less, it will be more. But I want to normalize this concept for me.
See, first remove that guilt feeling. Guilt is when you are bound to make mistakes. Okay. But learn from your mistakes. First thing is learn from your mistakes. Don't make the same mistake again. So you're going wrong here. I will not do it again. But what steps should I take to ensure that this doesn't occur again? So that is what I had to work on. And then you work on the next step. Okay. So productive, you can be productive on a day-to-day basis by improving your productivity in small, marginally. And then totally at the end of the year, you'll find, like, you decide, okay, today I've done this much, tomorrow I'm going to do this X plus, then X plus, delta plus karke. And then you'll find, wow, you've done a great amount of work. So can you do that? That's possible. So that won't take much time, because the moment you start doing that delta plus, you will start looking at ways to make it easier. So you look at any housewife who's in the kitchen. She handles number of things at the same time. How is she productive? And some of them are so good that within 30 to 40 minutes, your meal is ready.
Yeah.
Your meal is ready. They're very good. even some of these bais, the maids who come, they have doing 4-5 houses. They cooks in 4-5 houses. There's a cook who comes to my place. She comes morning 1.5 hours, she finishes, then the next house, the next house, next house. 4-5 houses, she makes around 50 grand in a month. She's productive. And morning and in the evening too. So she is able to manage that. But some are absolutely very slow coaches. They are not able to handle. If they light the gas, they can only handle that one gas. They can't handle 4 stores at the same time. So there's multitasking. So you have to get that ability to multitask. So you need to have that ability to multitask. Productivity will increase. And today we have a lot of tools to help your productivity. I'm still to learn this phone. This was gifted to me by my nephew from the US.
Okay.
It's the latest what is it? Google Max Pro or Pro Max 9. Google Pixel 9 Max Pro, latest. It has got so many features. I'm still get a hang of it. I'm using it only as a basic tool of incoming calls. But now I realize that there is a method to record and there's method to edit, and even your photos can be edited. 2 photos can be merged. Like I'm taking a group, but I am not in the group. I can take one selfie and then merge it and make it as one group. That is also possible. So I said, wow, I've got to learn all that. At this age, I don't mind learning. But by the time I learn this, something else will come up. You got to. So we are in a state of continuous flux. So you need to keep learning and unlearning. Like I remember when I started training way back in 80s, we used to use the OHP transparency. We used to prepare handwritten, colored transparency, handwritten, and then we used to put it on the OHP. Then this thing came, laptop came, PowerPoint came. We started doing that. Then we started learning from there. We went to, now we don't have to even learn this laptop. You have AI and ChatGPT to prepare your PPTs.
Seconds.
So now I'm still to get a hang of it as to how you can prepare PPTs the way you want. And there are people advertising on courses. They'll say, do this 10 hours course. It will help you prepare the best PPT. So all these kind of things are coming. So you have a lot of things there. The other day I was saying AI medicine. How artificial intelligence, there will be no doctors. There will be a kiosk and it has all the equipment which a hospital has. And you have to just go there, give this thing, and so the technology is there to help you out. But we can't be a slave to technology. Nothing to beat our brain. So that's how that productivity can improve if you find ways of improving. Not working smart. Productivity will improve when you start working smart. Okay. Anything else?
Yes. Things we always stuck in toxic environment, so to say. And first of all, we don't recognize it in the start, but after then we get habitual to it and we have to stuck in it. So how to identify those toxic environments in the start only?
See, that can be done. Interaction first. When you start interacting with the person, a lot of negatives, he gives a lot of negative vibes. He starts talking negatively. He does things negatively. He said this can't be done. Why this? Why not? Cynical. He's negative about everything. So he becomes. Then you try to tell him, look, boss, this is a better way of doing it. Why can't we do it? No, that will not work. So then it becomes toxic. So now you have a choice. What is the choice? You start doing your own thing, do well, and get out. Get to a level above him, then you start dictating terms. So he can't dictate. But sometimes he's a super boss, you can't do anything. Then you have a choice of getting yourself moved out of that department. That's also not possible. Leave. I did that. When certain things are like, we had a branch of 60 people. I'll give you an example. So there are 4 or 5 people who used to not work. Not because they inherently didn't want to work, but they were not wanted. They were the gone cases. Sadela.
Yeah.
So there is to be a fight by the department heads to get the best to work for them in their team. So I also had a team to develop. So I should never get into this fight, because he said, I want this person, I want this person. They'll fight. He works well, so I want him. He works well. No, they'll have a fight amongst the department heads.
Yeah.
We want this person. The process, I will never go into this fight. So they casually used to ask me, why you don't fight for what you want? I said, you give me whom you want. You give me anybody. I don't mind. You give me the worst guy. I don't mind. He said, how will you work with the worst guy? You give it to me. And I should take whatever is left. Now I motivate these guys. I said, look, boss, you are rejected by the others, but I am taking you. So you have to do something. You have to be thankful to me for letting you work in my department. In that, I will teach you how to do things properly, fast, quick, and short, smart way. You do it this way, I don't mind. So they used to be this thing, and then in about 6 months' time, they used to turn around and they used to be excellent workers. Then the very same people who rejected them, they used to come in the next meeting up. Every year they have a rota, they have a rotation to change the teams. So the very same person who rejected this